$374 billion in homeowner equity gone. That's the amount American homeowners have collectively lost in the last 12 months, according to Cotality, formerly CoreLogic. The largest single-year equity erosion since the great financial crisis of 2008. And here's the part that should chill anyone who lived through the last crash. Back in 2007, the housing decline didn't start nationwide. It started in specific overheated markets, Las Vegas, Phoenix, the Florida coast, and it stayed there for almost 12 months before it spread. That's exactly the pattern we're watching unfold right now in 2026. Florida has been the headline story for 2 years. Cape Coral, Punta Gorda, Lakeland, those names have become shorthand for housing crash on every financial news channel in America. But the institutional data, the kind that comes out of Cotality, Intercontinental Exchange Mortgage Technology, ATTOM Data Solutions, and the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, is now telling a different story. Florida's correction is decelerating. Inventory in Cape Coral and Sarasota is actually falling year over year. And meanwhile, 12 other American cities have leapfrogged Florida in distress, quietly, while everyone was looking the other way. That's why today we're ranking the top 12 housing markets crashing harder than Florida right now, and the cities you need to avoid in 2026. We're going to name the Texas metro where prices have fallen further than any Florida city. We're going to show you the Carolina market where nearly 80% of all listings are sitting with price cuts. And we're going to reveal the Mountain West metro where bank repossessions just tripled in a single quarter. If your home is in one of these 12 markets, your equity is the next domino. And if it's not, pay close attention to where the contagion is heading next. Let's start with the city that's officially worse than any Florida market in America, Austin, Texas. Home prices in the Austin metro are now down 27.8% from their 2022 peak, according to Resi Club Analytics using Zillow's Home Value Index. That's a deeper collapse than Cape Coral, deeper than Punta Gorda, deeper than the worst Florida market that's been getting 2 years of national crash coverage. And it gets uglier the further you dig. Intercontinental Exchange Mortgage Technology, that's the firm that tracks more than 60% of all active U.S. mortgages, reports that 9.2% of Austin home loans are now underwater. That's the highest negative equity share in any major American metro. To put a number on that, if you bought an Austin home in 2022, there's roughly 1 in 4 chance you owe more on your mortgage today than your house is worth. Median days on market in Austin just hit 91 days. That's the slowest market pace Austin has seen since 2011, coming out of the last housing crash. 48% of active listings carry at least one price reduction. Travis County inventory just hit its highest level in over a decade. And here's the line that should rattle every Sunbelt homeowner watching this video. Redfin's most recent migration report officially classifies Austin as a net outflow metro for the first time in modern history. The top destination for people leaving Austin? Los Angeles. The California wave that built this city has reversed. That's why Resi Club's Lance Lambert wrote in April that Austin is, quote, the epicenter of resale housing market weakness in 2026. Austin isn't a Texas anomaly. It's the leading edge of a statewide unwind. San Antonio is now down 11.2% from its 2022 peak. And here's the stat almost nobody's talking about. Intercontinental Exchange Mortgage Technology reports 8.8% of San Antonio mortgages are underwater. That's the third highest negative equity share in the entire country, ahead of Jacksonville, Florida. Median days on market in San Antonio jumped from 72 days a year ago to 98 days in March. And 35% of San Antonio homebuyers are now searching outside the metro on Redfin. Move 270 miles north and you hit Dallas-Fort Worth, and specifically the high-end northern suburbs of Collin County. Frisco, Plano, and Prosper combined are down 6.1% year over year, with inventory now 62% above the long-term average. Smart Asset just ranked Plano as the number 5 worst metro in America for year-over-year price drops. The Texas ex-urban builder glut, places like Salina, Forney, and Anna, is producing 2.99% mortgage rate buydowns and free upgrades because builders can't move standing inventory. ATTOM Data Solutions confirms Texas led the nation in foreclosure starts in the first quarter of 2026. 10,617 filings, more than any other state. And then there's Houston. Houston still has positive migration. The headline median price is roughly flat. But underneath the surface, Houston's foreclosure rate just jumped 88% year over year, according to Intercontinental Exchange Mortgage Technology, the largest annual increase of any major U.S. metro. Houston is now the number 2 city in America for foreclosure starts. The flood and insurance pressure in Montgomery and Fort Bend counties is doing to Houston's exurbs what climate pricing is doing to coastal Florida, just more quietly. Before I keep going, if this is the kind of housing data nobody else is putting in front of you, do me one quick favor and tap the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We dig through the institutional reports so you don't have to. Now, let's keep moving. The Mountain West is where the migration story turns into a financial story. Start with Denver. The Denver metro is down 10.6% from its 2022 peak. The city of Denver is down 12%. Active listings in the Denver MSA are 139% above July 2023 levels and 48% above the 2019 pre-pandemic baseline. That's not a normalization. That is a structural oversupply. And here is the stat I promised you earlier. Colorado bank repossessions, actual completed foreclosures where the lender took the keys, jumped from 99 in the first quarter of 2025 to 321 in the first quarter of 2026, according to ATTOM. That's more than triple in 12 months, the largest percentage gain among major states in America. The Denver luxury condo segment, 26 months of supply. There are condos in Cherry Creek in downtown Denver that will not sell until 2028 at current absorption rates. And the migration reversal is brutal. Redfin's Q4 2025 data ranks Denver as the number 8 net outflow metro in the country. The top destination for people leaving Denver? Phoenix. Which brings us to Phoenix, and specifically the West Valley. The Phoenix metro is down 11.6% from peak, but the suburbs are where the real damage is. Buckeye, Arizona, that's the West Valley exurb that exploded during the pandemic boom, has a Zillow Home Value Index of $401,000, down 11.6% year over year. That is Punta Gorda territory. Goodyear, Surprise, Queen Creek, Santan Valley, Maricopa, every one of them now flagged as a buyer's market by the Cromford Index. Phoenix had the second highest listing withdrawal rate in the country last summer. Sellers pulling homes off the market because they can't accept the prices buyers are willing to pay. Builder distress is loudest here. Toll Brothers CEO Douglas Yearley admitted on the company's February earnings call that the per-house incentive offered to home buyers has climbed from $68,000 a year ago to $80,000 today. Pulte Group's CEO Ryan Marshall said on April 23rd, quote, Texas and West markets, overall demand trends remain slower relative to the rest of the country. Translation? The builders know. Now we move east to the most dangerous quiet crash in America, the Carolinas. Most viewers think of the Carolinas as the Sun Belt success story. The institutional data says otherwise. Columbia, South Carolina has the third worst foreclosure rate in the country in the first quarter of 2026. One filing for every 440 housing units. For the full year 2025, Columbia was second only to Lakeland, Florida nationally, with one in every 165 housing units in some stage of foreclosure. South Carolina as a state posted 39.7% year-over-year growth in foreclosure filings. And say it with me, wait, it gets worse. Move 2.5 hours northeast and you hit Myrtle Beach. The Myrtle Beach condo market is down 12.2% year over year. Condo days on market, 143 days. Single-family active listings are up 36.6% year over year, the fastest growing inventory in the Carolinas data set. And here's the number I promised you in the hook. According to Houseio's March 2026 report, 79% of Myrtle Beach listings now carry at least one price reduction. 79%. That's more than double Cape Coral's price cut. But wait, it gets worse. Charleston, South Carolina just registered the third worst metro foreclosure rate in America among cities with populations over 500,000. The Charleston city median is down 5.1% year over year. Days on market hit 89. And First Street climate risk data confirms 71% of Charleston properties face severe flood exposure over a 30-year horizon, a number that's now showing up in mortgage applications and insurance underwriting. And here's the take that's going to upset every financial commentator pretending that this is a soft landing. The foreclosure moratorium and forbearance programs from 2020 and 2021 didn't prevent a housing crash. They postponed it. Intercontinental Exchange mortgage technology data shows active foreclosure inventory has now hit 273,000 loans, the highest level since February 2020. The month the pandemic broke the market wide open. FHA loans now make up 55% of all seriously delinquent mortgages, a record share. The wave that was supposed to be absorbed by federal relief is now hitting in 2026, exactly when the Federal Reserve and the home building lobby are calling this a normalization. It's not a normalization. It's a delayed detonation. If you think we're wrong about that the 2020 foreclosure pause was a delayed bomb instead of a permanent fix, tell us in the comments. We read every single one. And if you think we're right, hit the like button. That's what tells the YouTube algorithm to push this video to homeowners in the markets we just covered before their equity goes underwater. Now back to the list. Now, I want to show you 4 cities that broke the geographic pattern entirely. These are the metros nobody on financial TV is naming. Start with Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland's year-end 2025 foreclosure rate was 1 filing for every 187 housing units, technically worse than Cape Coral, Florida, which sat at 1 in 189. Ohio just fell from number 14 to number 43 on U-Haul's annual growth index, the steepest single-year migration drop in the country. The Cleveland Case-Shiller Index is technically still positive on prices, but the foreclosure pipeline is screaming what the price chart hasn't admitted yet. Now, look at New Orleans, or as my friend would say, Nolans, down 19.1% from its 2022 peak. Louisiana has the lowest equity-rich rate in America at 20.1%. 9 of the 15 worst counties for negative equity in the country are in Louisiana, or Louisiana. The driver is insurance. Insurify projects the average Louisiana homeowner premium will hit $13,937 this year, and 18% of pending sales in New Orleans canceled in February because buyers couldn't afford the insurance. That number was 10% a year earlier. And once again, wait, it gets worse. Bend, Oregon is down 7.9% year over year, the steepest pure annual drop in the Pacific Northwest. According to Redfin, 37% of Bend homebuyers are now searching to leave the metro. HUD itself flagged Bend for oversupply in its most recent housing market analysis. This is the remote work pandemic boom unwinding in real time. And finally, Atlanta. The city of Atlanta is down 8% from its 2022 peak. Noonan, Georgia, in Coweta County, is down 10.8% year over year. Atlanta has 39.9% of all sellers cutting their listing price. Georgia foreclosure filings rose 77.8% year over year, the steepest jump of any state. And here's the kicker. According to Redfin's analysis of census migration data, Atlanta just flipped from a positive 16,663 net domestic migration gain to a net outflow of roughly negative 2,000. That's the largest single-year migration reversal of any major American metro. You don't have to take our word for any of this. Listen to the people running the actual businesses on the line. Lennar Executive Chairman Stuart Miller, speaking on the company's March earnings call, admitted that normalized incentive levels in housing run 4 to 6%, but Lennar is currently carrying 14%. D.R. Horton, the largest home builder in America, disclosed that 73% of its closings now involve a mortgage rate buydown. KB Home CEO Rob McGibney went the furthest. Quote, I believe that there are customers that are overpaying for the home to effectively get an incentive. They may potentially be upside down when they try to sell that home. A sitting home builder CEO publicly admitted his own customers are buying homes they'll be underwater on. And the man at the top of the entire U.S. financial system agrees. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, December 10, 2025, quote, Housing is going to be a problem. We can raise and lower interest rates, but we don't really have the tools to address this. When Powell, Miller, and McGibney are all saying the same thing, the homeowners in these 12 cities are not getting a soft landing. They're getting a controlled descent into a price floor nobody at the Fed knows how to find. If this video helped you see what the institutional data is actually showing, subscribe and hit the bell so the next one lands in your feed. You don't want to miss it. What we're watching in 2026 is the slowest motion housing crash in American history, and Florida is no longer in the front row. The story has moved. It moved to Austin, to Denver, to Phoenix's West Valley, to Columbia and Myrtle Beach, to 100 zip codes the Federal Reserve hasn't named yet. If you own a home in one of these 12 markets, the question isn't whether your equity is at risk. The question is how much of it has already evaporated while the headlines pointed somewhere else. I'll see you in the next one.